Hey guys! Bluebird here once again, hopefully giving her last video on Mapleshade's vengeance. My video on Appledusk has caused a bit of a buzz, and I'm quite happy about that. When I made that video, I was well aware that there were going to be differing opinions in the comments section. This is perfectly okay with me, and I'm pleased to see the discussion. But there were a couple of comments that I've been seeing that I quickly wanted to touch on. First off, Reedshine. At the end of the book, when Mapleshade is challenging Appledusk, Reedshine comes over to see what is going on, only for Mapleshade to attack her. However, Appledusk leaps in front of Reedshine and receives the killing blow. This is a detail I left out of my video, not because I didn't know it was there, but because it doesn't change the fact that Appledusk died at Mapleshade's claws. But in hindsight, I probably should have included it. This scene perfectly illustrates Mapleshade's selfishness. Even though she is supposed to be seeking revenge for her kids, she attacks a pregnant she-cat because of her own jealousy and possessiveness over Appledusk. It is a solid statement from the author that Mapleshade is not in the right, even if she thinks she is. Secondly, there was some discourse over Mapleshade being at fault for the death of her kids. Please note that as I talk about this, it is not to antagonize you or get you to dislike Mapleshade as a character. I am only asking that you listen carefully, so that perhaps you may understand where others are coming from. Was Mapleshade the one at fault for the death of her kids? In my opinion, yes she was. Mapleshade did have other options other than crossing a flooding river immediately without any second thought, some of which I listed in my comments while discussing this with others. For one, perhaps spending the night in a hollow tree or some bushes. The fact that Mapleshade was able to find areas for herself to rest in and keep herself safe after being banished from RiverClan is proof enough of this. There was also Myler's barn, and yes, while Mapleshade was unaware of Myler at the time, it wouldn't have hurt to try her luck elsewhere. Two Lake Place was also a possibility. And no, Oakstar did not raid the Two Lake Place at this time. I've seen one person comment that, and it is blatantly untrue. But even if Two Lake Place wasn't an option, there were also other more safer ways for her to get to RiverClan. Waiting for a patrol, going through 4 trees, using the bridge that overhung the river, or just sitting on the bank to wait for the river to calm down before crossing. This last option I used in my fanfiction, by the way. The point is, other options existed, and Mapleshade decided to take the most dangerous and least logical option instead of considering anything else for the safety of her children. She is the mother. Her job is to keep them out of harm's way, and she ultimately didn't do so. There was no outside force that she was aware of that made it completely imperative to have her young, vulnerable children cross a dangerous, raging river with no assistance. I'm going to repeat myself, that she was aware of. I say this because of one commenter who made the point that Frecklewish was right behind them, but Mapleshade wasn't aware of her presence, therefore it did not play into her decision to make her kids cross the river. This whole thing was just a recipe for disaster, and inevitably she pays the price for her negligence. And by the way, even if she was overwhelmed at the time to the point where she wasn't thinking rationally, that still doesn't take away from the fact that she is responsible for these children. Think of the many scenarios in real life where a mother is supposed to survey the environment for the safety of their kids, only for that child to become injured, or in the worst case scenario, die because of their mother's negligence. Again, I don't intend for anyone to change what characters they like and dislike. It's easy to see why people sympathize with Mapleshade, and it's also easy to see why so many people don't consider her to be in the wrong in this particular situation. But at the very least, I hope I've laid it out clearly enough for you guys to understand where I'm coming from. Everyone has their own valid reasons for their opinions on this book and the series as a whole, and that's what makes this community special. Well guys, I think that's about all I have for today. If you're interested in seeing more from me, feel free to subscribe. Bluebird out.